Name's Isaac Elkins. Today is Sunday, February 25th, and the password is kitten. Redlining is a practice that supposedly ended in 1968. It was a practice that forced non-white people to settle in communities purposefully placed in the least desirable areas of a city. This practice left these non-white communities with worse air pollution, lower access to education, reproductive disorders, no access to clean water, and a heap of other disadvantages. These disadvantages have lingered to this day, and Berkeley Public Health's Dr. J.X. Gonzalez discovered how much redlining is still affecting American minorities in 2022. I heavily encourage you to take a look at his research. If you are unfamiliar, it can be found on Berkeley's faculty website page. But redlining is only one of the previously legal policies that affect minorities today in America. Unfortunately, many people do not have the knowledge and the ability to advocate for themselves in order to face these issues and see what is being done that is still illegal against them. And without organizations such as the ACLU, these events would succeed even more than they do now. The ACLU website proclaims they exist to, quote, defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to all people within this country. In layman's terms, it means they are here to guarantee liberties to those who are wronged, who cannot protect themselves. They have a very intuitive online submission process allowing anyone to file a complaint, and all complaints are looked at and taken seriously. And if they deem action is needed, they will take it. The ACLU works against systemic injustice existing within our nation by taking political action as well as working directly with communities. It is important to support organizations like the ACLU because without them, underfunded communities may have no way to fight for themselves. The reason why I specifically believe that the ACLU is one of the most important ones to support is their work they did with the NAACP throughout the 1950s and 1960s. Understanding that they were not fully equipped to deal with issues relating mostly to Black and Brown Americans in this country. They focused on police misconduct around NAACP protests as well as local civil misconduct. By doing this, they were able to allow organizations like the NAACP to fight at a Supreme Court level. Doing this took pressures off of their larger cases. In fact, one of those most famous cases was Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. In this case, the ACLU filed an amicus brief that allowed them to assist the NAACP from a legal standpoint without being directly tied to the case. Because of involvement in cases like this, the rights of minorities in America have been improved. And without organizations like the ACLU, there's no guarantee that progress would still be being made on these benchmark cases. But the ACLU is not just an organization of the past. While they have a history spanning over 100 years, they still are very much active in this day and age. Communities rely on them to both educate and advocate for them. With how heartbreaking systemic injustice is, what with stripping away communities' access to healthcare, job security, and proper education, things that make neighborhoods ripe for gentrification when conditions get worse enough due to declining property values. They, without the ACLU, may fade away completely, but the ACLU is standing in the gap, preventing these communities from being completely eradicated, even here in Arizona. They sued Alistair Adele's office here in Arizona for forcing people to plead guilty and waive their rights to public defenders in court. They went against the prisons on behalf of inmates in Arizona for having too much exposure to solitary confinement, as well as very poor healthcare conditions that led to several lives being lost unnecessarily. And on it goes. Every case accessible to every citizen to see. All you need to do is look it up on the ACLU's website, and you can then go into a state's database and see exactly what happened in these cases. And every single one of them is another win against systemic injustice. And that is why the ACLU is worthy of support. I believe every person with the capacity should go to their website and donate whatever they can, even if it's only a few dollars, because you never know when your community may be the one under fire. And if that ever occurs, you want an organization such as the ACLU to be standing in the gap for you, for your people, and for your community.